each of us is survived with mother's milk and mother's affection. So 7 billion human beings come that way. And human beings are social animal. So social animal, any social animal, including dogs, cats, you see, emotionally, this is some factor which bring together. That's human love, human compassion. So therefore, some scientists, they describe basic human nature is more compassionate. So when this is that, so what is the one scientific or meeting with scientists, one occasion, you see the person or scientist who described human being basic nature is more compassionate. He carried one picture, one very, very young 6-month-old infant, language not yet developed. And to that very young infant is a child, showing cartoon. 2 children play together with smile. And that cartoon is showing to that 6-month-old infant child, a child smiling. So that child feel happy, joyful. Then another cartoon, 2 children, negative sort of attitude and sort of harming each other. Then that picture shows that infant child, 6-month-old. This child also clearly shows unhappiness. So language not yet developed, so religious thing not yet developed. So just pure human nature. Then more important, the constant anger, feeling, anger and hatred, that actually eating our immune system. Now some medical scientists say that. More compassionate mind, very helpful to sustain immune system. So then they concluded basic human nature is more compassionate. So for that is very, and then also I think basic human nature, we just consider other as a human brothers, sisters. Look, young children, they don't care what their religious faith, what their nationality. So long they play together, they just simply together, isn't it? Oneness of human being is very fresh. Gradually we grown up, and then we too much emphasis differences. My nation, my race, and firstly, east, west, white, and black, yellow, like that. And then within that, this religion, that religion. This, our own creation. Yes, it is true. You see, different continent, you see, different area, you see the people with different language, different culture. Different culture come because of the climate condition and way of life. I think cultural heritage in Africa, hot climate, and then culture in Scandinavian country, or including Tibet, cold climate. So accordingly, because of that, they eventually create certain different way of life with that different culture. Okay. South Indian and North Indian, also there are some differences, isn't it? So because of climate, these things, environment makes these differences. So that's okay. That's okay. So different culture, in konsochi yarwe. In konsochi churu to kado. Usually 10 a.m. I used to some tea. So I feel uncomfortable. I enjoy tea, you nothing. So I ask something. While I insist we are same human being, but for a practical level, I'm something different. So I enjoy tea, you nothing. Oh. So now, whenever I give talk, I always say start, brothers, sisters. Now time come, we must make effort to promote sense of oneness of entire sentient, entire human being, 7 billion human being. Today, we, I think, materially much developed and still developing, and with that, modern education, also, generally speaking, very good. But the problem, beside nature disaster, the man-made problem which human beings themselves created, that problem now quite serious. Look, in some African states, and then Arab countries, the religion also causing problem, division. Worst case, because of different religious faith, killing. And then people still, I think, making more money through selling weapons. Weapon to kill. I think really lack of moral principle. And then a lot of corruptions. Now in India and also China, huge gap, rich and poor. These are immoral. So now we really passing through difficult period due to lack of moral principle. That ultimately related with sense of concern of others' well-being. On the basis, the sense of oneness of entire 7 billion human beings. Isn't it? So now we all part of the 7 billion human beings. Each of us have the responsibility to build happy humanity, peaceful humanity. Okay. So I just share with you. So then I think I prefer some question and answer. So you can ask me any question. Okay. Okay.
I'm Marie Bettina from Austria.
Yes. Okay.
Your Holiness, in 2008, you gave Getsul vows to Tenzin Nangpel y Tenzin Tapel 10 years ago. The next year, we started a small nuns community, and we started living in Dharamsala. We lived here for 7 years. We have many connections with Latin America. We have been traveling for quite a few years. As you can see, there's a tremendous thirst for the Dharma in Latin America. The violence and also a strong base of spirituality, an interest in spiritual life combined for many people to find a lot of meaning and purpose in the Dharma. Over the years, with primarily the help of Leslie Serna, we have created a Dharma TV station, which we also have every week on Sunday. There's one Dharma talk emphasizing secular ethics, universal values, and working with difficult emotions. And these talks are for non-Buddhists and
Which
also
country?
Buddhists. She's Mexico. She's from Mexico.
Mexico.
Mm-hmm. And this has been going for 7 years, every Sunday without missing any Sundays. Then also, for people who want to study more about Buddhism, we have created an online study institute called Instituto Buddha Dharma. And this study institute was given the name by Gyawan Karmapa, who's guiding our community. And the study program is going a little more into depth about Buddhist topics, Buddhist philosophy, karma, 12 links. And they have 800 students every quarter are registering from all different Spanish-speaking countries. There's a 6-year study program going step by step. Most of the people who are here are helping, supporting with guiding the classes and quienes están colaborando en Instituto Buddha Dharma. These are many of the people here. We don't want to stay with only study. There's also a very strong practice focus. So we have begun to do 3-month Vajrasattva retreats. ¿Quiénes han estado en un retiro de Vajrasattva en 3 meses? These are people who have done 3-month retreat of Vajrasattva. Then also our community has quite a strong feeling of social commitment, and especially interested or committed in working for gender and women's empowerment. Well, obviously, we are nuns and also lots of women.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And also have a very strong environmental focus. We try to have our own activities, and also we are emphasizing this a lot. And then also construction of peace. And 7 years we lived in India, and then 3 years ago, because there's so much need for the Dharma in Mexico, then we came to the point also we started having problems with visas in India. Then consulting with Gyawan Karmapa, we decided to go to Mexico and build a monastic base there 3 years ago. The lay community is very strongly enthusiastic, and I think they have a strong aspiration for us to be there. But in these 3 years, we haven't progressed very much. So the first request that we have is for Your Holiness' blessing, and also if you can give some advice for us as a lay community and nuns community to create a monastic base in Mexico.
Okay. As I mentioned earlier, see, different area, different cultural heritage, and including different faith. I think some kind of religious faith, I think maybe developed in this country, India, I think maybe one of the earliest, about 4,000 years. And I do not know more detail, but I have the view Egyptian civilization, also it is around 4,000 or 5,000 years old. The Chinese tradition also, you see, very old, I think 5,000. So among these different 신가주 당군에 참 먼저 뭐듯이 자산장나나 망치도 안 두고 그래. 아주 지스바 십시도. I enjoy tea, you enjoy water. I think actually we little bit so neglect it. Otherwise, we can easily arrange from the Chazang. Oh, wow. I think few hundred people, the tea very easily arrange. So then I feel among the different major religions of the world, I think Indian tradition, over 3,000 years, you see, the emphasis on one's own practice, not just faith. So Indian tradition, the tradition of training of our mind through meditation, shamatha, and analytical meditation, vipassana. So since in the tradition, spiritual tradition, say a lot of training, a lot of sort of work, training our mind. So automatically more explanation about mind, about emotion, how to tackle. Like in order to carry medical treatment, firstly, you have to know more detail about illness. Without knowing that, how can treat medical treatment? So similarly, in order to carry, tackle our emotion, you should know more detail about emotion and what kind of emotion is the main sort of troublemaker. What kind of emotion is something really useful, make a distinction. Then, these days I describing, you see, hygiene of physical we actually study in education field included. Now time come, we should have hygiene of emotion. For that, we have to we have to more knowledge about emotion. So, Buddhism, before Buddha come, Jainism, also you see a lot of practice of meditation. And before that, Sangha philosophy, over 3,000 years. So it seems now Egyptian civilization and Chinese civilization, Indus Valley civilization, it seems Indus Valley civilization, I think eventually produced a lot of different philosophical views. I think in this country, in India, I think roughly speaking, may have about, I think, 100 different philosophical views. Nowadays, I think come through evolution somewhere. Come through evolution. Like that. So now I want to get permission from you. Enjoy tea. So now in this world, now different religious tradition. And before Buddha come, already in Arab area, the Judeo-Christian tradition come. So and then Islam. Correct?
Jews.
Oh, Jews. And tell me one more. So, in India also, some religion is a theistic religion, believe God. But then, one part of Sankhyaism and Jainism and Buddhism say no concept of no concept of creator. No concept of creator. But rather self-creation. Concept of I think if you like, some Jews. So the Sankhya, one part of the Sankhya philosophy, and also the Jain philosophy and Buddhist philosophy, the self, no beginning. So no concept of creator. According to theistic religion, this very life created by God. Then after that, either go to heaven or go to hell. Quite simple. According to Indian tradition, very complicated. You see, since you see life, no beginning, so rebirth, limitless rebirth in the past and also future. So now, the concept, not only just of faith, but you see, concept of karma, action. the pleasant sort of feeling or difficult feeling entirely depend on one's own action. If you take action which brings joyfulness, happiness to other people, other sentient being, you get benefit. Eventually you get a more pleasant life. If your activities bring some unhappiness to other people or other sentient beings, the consequences you have to face, the painful experiences. So that's the theory of karma. So, existing world religion, I think basically two groups: theistic religion, non-theistic religion. Theistic religion also wonderful. For example, Christianity, Christians, I think made, greatest contribution regarding education and health all over the world. Wonderful. And Christianity, I think, very much linked with Judaism, like that. And I think Judaism, really keep spirit of Jewish people's spirit. Wonderful, wonderful. And then more important, since today we are seeing the conflict, as I briefly mentioned before, conflict in the name of different religion and killing. So such period, now we must make every effort to promote religious harmony. So in order to develop religious harmony, we must respect all religion. I am Buddhist. I am a student of Nalanda tradition. I study the ancient Indian sort of Buddhist masters sort of writing. Most of these Indian Nalanda tradition, Nalanda masters are great logicians. So logician, even when we study logic, very young age, the system is always, try to pick up contradiction from other side. Then you feel very happy. Oh, found some contradiction. Then debate, like that. So that is the Indian sort of the logical approach. Always, try to find contradiction. If you have some contradiction, if your own case, you develop certain idea, and then think more, or another thing, or contradict. So, more analytical meditation. So therefore, as a student of Nalanda tradition, and the many texts wrote by great Indian Buddhist logicians, so they already made very clear all these contradictions. Yet, it's like medicine. We cannot say this medicine is best. You cannot say. Only judging the patient's physical condition and precisely recognize what kind of illness, then you can prescribe this medicine for you is best. So I feel like that. The different people, different cultural heritage, different mental disposition, accordingly you can say, this religion more suitable. for you, this religion is best. Otherwise, we cannot say one religion is best. You cannot say. So I never state Buddhism is best. I never state. So we must respect all different religious traditions. I think we can make a distinction. The real teaching of Dharma or teaching of religion. Then philosophical fields, two parts. As far as religious concept is concerned, all major world religious traditions, same, all carry message of love, message of forgiveness, tolerance, all same. I have many friends among Christian practitioner, Muslim practitioner, Judaism practitioner. A wonderful person, really, very, very compassionate person, and totally dedicated their life serving other poor people. Wonderful. I have many occasions to visit some Catholic monastery or nunnery in Italy, in America, in different places. Oh, their life, dedicated, serving other, their own lifestyle, very simple, simplicity, isn't it? One occasion, one monastery. So when I was there, then I visit his in different room. One old Catholic monk. See, in his room, very simple. Then tape record there. So I going to touch that. Oh, he said, no. Seems I think that tape recorder is, I think, best possession of that old monk, I think. When I want to touch it, he feel, no. So very nice, you see, very simplicity. Wonderful. And I really felt, oh, some Tibetan Lama, quite luxurious. So these, you see, people, I think as far as teaching of compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, simplicity, contentment, same, all religion. Now in philosophical field, there's differences. Firstly, theistic religion believe God, creator. Non-theistic religion, no creator, rather self-creation. Then within non-theistic religion in India, the question of independent self, Atma. So beside this physical body, the independent soul, which come from previous life and go to next life. So the Jainism accept that. Then non-theistic religious tradition, because non-theistic religious, so to say, one part Sangha, they both accept the independent self. Now Buddha, about 2,000 years ago, is Buddha on the basis of existing Indian tradition. The others will practice same practice of Shila, Shila, practice of Shamatha, broadly speaking, practice of Vipassana, same. Monastic life, same, already exists in this country. Then Buddha after he left from palace, and then 6 years the serious meditation and almost fasting. It seems during that period he investigated very self, independent self. And now he also tried to find contradiction. So he found there is contradiction. The body, including mind, always changing. The independent self not changing. This body, mind, always changing, but also is the basis of the designation self. So designation self, something permanent. The basis of the designation changing. Now some contradiction here. So Buddha found a non-independent self, anattama theory. So now, and Buddha, some unique thing about his philosophical view is nothing independently exists, but due to other factor. Patit samupanda, interdependency. So now that interdependency, concept of interdependency, now quantum physics clearly mentioned that, very similar view. These scientists, not these people, just investigate what is reality. So as far as the external thing is concerned, the quantum physicists say now nothing objectively exists. Finally related with observer. Now modern quantum physicists, if you ask where is observer, no answer. In this country, India, over 3,000 years, very much analyze what is the observer. The non-Buddhist school of thought say, there is independent observer. Buddha say, no, everything designated. Right? So, you see this, now quantum physics, I think one part of Buddhist philosophy, the mind-only school of thought, very similar, like that. Mind-only school of thought, no external things except this mind. Mind is something absolute. Then, Madhyamika philosophy, particularly the Nagarjuna real philosophical view is nothing independently exists due to other factor. So including self or mind. External things does not exist independently. The observer also nothing independently exists. The mind also not independently exists. Nothing independently exists. Everything interdependent and a designation. So now why that kind of philosophy? Not just a mere, the academic way, intellectual concept. It really now works our emotion. Our emotion. I think, generally speaking, we can divide two parts. One emotion, very much based on ignorance. That means one emotion based on appearances. So, appearances, as quantum physics says, if we investigate, nothing exists as appears. So that concept directly opposes the certain emotion which believe on appearances. So thinking deeper level, what's the reality? That reduce the strong sort of belief or existing as appears. Now quantum physicists, some, including some Chinese quantum physicists, I saw one article wrote by one Chinese quantum physicist, still in China. He found those people, those scientists who believe quantum physics, they are sort of mental sort of attitude, or extreme good, extreme bad, much less, more neutral. He is not Nagarjuna's follower, just a simply scientist. So it's exactly become clear. This is too much sort of. Now here, one my American friend, one scientist, Aaron Beck. Now his age over 100 years. Wonderful, really wonderful. When I first met him, his age 84. I met him Stockholm, some conference. He there. He told me, because of psychotherapist way. I can't pronounce properly that word. So he told me, I think few decades he treated people whose mind much disturbed by anger. Now he told me, when anger develops, the object which the person feels angry appears very negative, but 90% of that negativeness is mental projection, not reality. So you see, anger, towards something, appears something very negative, entirely based on appearances, not deeper way. That is now exactly Nagarjuna stated that. The purpose of thinking, nothing independently exists, is the antidote of that kind of emotion, that kind of sort of grasping feeling like that. Now here, my own experience, now over 60, 70 years, I seriously thinking about emptiness. Now particularly last 40 years, I really seriously thinking. And they're very, very helpful. You see, anything appears, just like mirage, not exist as appears. The reality is nothing independently exists. So that view really very, very helpful to reduce on very basis of that exaggeration. Like that. So now Buddhist philosophy, mainly it's in the religious aspect, all religions same, carry message of love, forgiveness, these things. The philosophical views, big differences, theistic, non-theistic, within non-theistic, independent self or not, within the Buddhist school of thought, the Vivashik, Sautantik, Chittamantra, Madhyamika, and within the four divisions, each one have subdivisions, different things. So a lot of different sort of views. The best thing is the Nagarjuna's sort of philosophy explained by Chandrakirti, most profound, clear, and I think I can say, very scientific, like that. So therefore, now I never say Buddhism is best. However, in the philosophical fields, we can sit side by side with scientists. The other religion, I think, sometimes little inconvenient, isn't it, with scientists? Like that. About 40 years ago, I begin to feel I want to some sort of dialogue with scientists. I express that to some of my friends, some Europeans. I mentioned that desire. Then they say, "Oh, be careful. Science is killer of religion. So very, very careful." Then I thought, I reflect what Buddha's own quotation. "Oh, my follower, monks, scholars, should not accept my teaching out of faith, but rather thorough investigation and experiment." So I reflect on that sort of Buddha's quotation. And then, like Nagarjuna and some other sort of was a great philosopher, actually rejected some Buddha's own teaching. If you accept this Buddha's teaching literally, it against reason, contradictions there. So we have to reject. We cannot accept these teaching. So then I felt no problem, and I start firstly, you see, my own curiosity, more sort of discussion, mainly cosmology, neurobiology, physics, particularly quantum physics, then psychology. So then, eventually, I developed more conviction. If we discuss with scientists in these four fields, it's a mutual benefit. We get more detailed information about the cosmology of these things. Although some Buddhist texts mention, but quite rough. And then one casualty of that contact is, now I no longer believe Mount Meru, world no longer as a flat, in the center Mount Meru, and the sun and the moon almost same size. So sometimes I jokingly express the one textbook wrote by great master of Nalanda. See, he mentioned size of the world, flat world, and size of the Mount Meru, and sun and moon, these things. So he mentioned the size of moon and sun almost the same size. So then I jokingly express sometimes, when that scholar, Bosuband, when he wrote that text, his age naturally quite old, his eyesight not very good. So then he tried to look when cloudy day, sun. He felt moon and full moon and sun seems not much differences of size. Although the text mentioned that, but we have right to reject. The scientific sort of finding, it's the proof. Calculate and observe. So no problem. Like that. So now, after more than 30 years, it is very, very helpful exchange with scientists. And then sometimes maybe too much because of the presumptuous the psychology is concerned, the ancient Indian psychology, highly developed. So modern psychology looks like a kindergarten level. Very, very low. Very low. It's quite sort of amazing. Human mind, the sensorial sort of consciousness, that is common with animal. Then naturally, we have this brain, mind, not sensorial sort of level. All these thinking, analytical meditation, these things are not sensorial level, but mental level. Clear? So you can, as you spend some time or meditate that, mainly carried by the main mind, not sensorial level. When main mind focusing, thinking something, and sound come, never pay attention. Then seeing something there, but still never attracted. Your main mind concentrate on certain point. So clearly, through our own experience, we can make a distinction. The sensorial level, I think some animal sensorial experiences much bigger than we human being. But the sixth mind, we call sixth mind, is really other animal know that kind of the ability. So like that. So now many scientists now really showing interest and gain some new sort of outlook. Outlook. So therefore, the Buddha Dharma mainly is based on reasoning. So now, some of the people have some interest about the Buddha Dharma. So now you should think mainly Buddhist philosophy and the Buddhist psychology. These things are very important. Then just repeat some ritual. I think sometimes I feel in Tibetan tradition, I think too much ritual. So that, if may I say so, with blind faith, ritual, good. With more analytical sorrow, also the faith. The ritual then always bring questions. Why? Like that. So therefore, please pay more attention for study and Buddhist logic and Buddhist about mind, about emotion, and how to tackle these things. These are very useful. So as I mentioned earlier, you see, the hygiene of emotion, these we should consider, we should not consider as a part of Buddhist philosophy or Buddhist psychology, but you should consider the academic subject to build healthy mind. Okay. So, firstly, I want to make clear, we cannot say Buddhism is best. So religion is personal matter. So like Tibetan in the past few centuries, I think more than 99% Tibetan are Buddhist. But there are last, I think, 4 centuries, I think Muslims there. During 5th Dalai Lama, he provided land for Muslim community to build their own mosque. So completely religious freedom. Religion, individual matter. Like that. So I think we should keep that. We cannot say this religion is best. We cannot say, should not say, to individual. Then, as far as Buddhism is concerned, we should pay more attention for study. One time in Japan, one of my friend, one great scholar, as well as the abbot, head of Buddhist, society in Japan. Since we become very close friends, so one time he told me, we Japanese Buddhists, everyone recite Heart Sutra, Shirimyingpo, Heart Sutra, but without knowing the meaning. So I think we Tibetan also, I think recite some rituals, but without knowing the meaning. So now I always appeal them, we must study. As well as Chinese Buddhist and Tibetan Buddhist, I always telling them, we should be 21st century Buddhist. That means Buddhist faith with the fuller knowledge about Buddhism, not just some ritual like that, not that way. So now, basically, human brothers, sisters, and particularly in this case, Buddhist brothers, sisters, please pay more attention for study. These 1,000-year-old text wrote by Nagarjuna and Aryandeva, and the Buddha Palita, and the Chantakirti. Then as far as logic is concerned, Dignak and Dharmakirti. Their knowledge, I feel, today, 21st century, I think highly developed, scientific sort of knowledge, highly developed. These, I think, very relevant study. Okay. The next question. Oh. Okay. Next meeting now. Next meeting. Now, the next question.
His Holiness, I wanted to...
One of my weakness is once my mouth open, then blah, 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 go like that. So that's my weakness. Now, next question.
Your Holiness.
If it's possible to request the oral transmission of the 8 verses of Mind Training?
No, here.
My question is, what can we do against this growing nationalism in Europe and in America? What advice can you give us against this right-wing movement in Europe?
As I already mentioned, now today I think we really make special effort for Christian. All people created by same source, God. So we all 7 billion human beings are the children of one God. So if you follow that, wonderful. Then without religious belief, common sense, according to common sense, we have to live together on this planet. And now, the global economy, no national boundary, no religious boundary. And furthermore, global warming, very serious now. It's a concern for humanity, not this nation, that nation. So, the too much nationalistic view, that's, I think, due to short-sighted and narrow-minded, unrealistic. In say, I think 8th century, 18th century, till 18th century, okay, my nation. Now we are 21st century. I think that kind of thinking, I think, outdated. The reality much changed. So now we have to think according to the new reality. Like America, I think American President Trump, Soon he elected, he mentioned America first. I didn't like that. America, leading nation of free world. So America, should think global sort of level, not just America. And American future also depend on the rest of the world. And then spend more money for weapon. That's, I think, totally wrong. Eventually, we have to fight disarmament, demilitarize, step by step, I feel. Okay. Now, yes. Okay. About altruism. 다른 심지어 담절로 이신도 올라라고 대저저에 삼아이 다도 저거 좀 줘. 간도 수도 저에서 더니 군내면에 샤나 사바다고이 초도 저거 좀 줘. 저런군도 라니로 도저 님고 제마다 다시 모르는 세변나 저도 돈은 도고 저신에 배선전이 되고 잡고 있는 동지 지지다들 잡아지는 이월가 외제죠. 다른 신이 차도게 시골로서 매일 정가하게 레바당 제가 샤는 배워서 가나다게 팬다고 저와저 것이 신는 되는 신이다 못하고 너는 뭐도 기회에 팬데만은 굴는 마이너도 동을 사연하러 내버려. 대다 군자 최에 이 도외치면 마마지 중요규모 신변의 신미신을 내주셔. It was that very good for training of altruism, reduce self-centered attitude. That really one of my main practice. Now, some you see tantric teaching. 자기 사실, 자기. Evil spirit, right? Evil spirit mentioned. In my mind, no. Evil spirit itself is something bad. But otherwise, entire sentient being is our brothers, sisters. This is nothing to expel or to to reject. Nothing. Only thing is our negative emotion, including my own negative emotion. That is real, or say, kasuda, ghost, enemy. Otherwise, the entire sentient being are our best friend. Not only, say, helpful to achieve Buddhahood or nirvana or these things, but day-to-day life, if you consider all sentient beings are my best friend, then you feel much happier, isn't it? Wherever I go, meet people, I always consider as my brothers, sisters. There's no barrier. If I consider I'm Buddhist, I'm Dalai Lama, then make some barrier. Result, you feel uneasiness. If I consider we are same human being, human brothers, sisters, then wherever I meet people, easily become friend. Isn't it? If I think too much emphasis about Dalai Lama, then out of 7 billion, only one Dalai Lama, then I feel lonely. If I consider I'm just a human being, then the 7 billion brothers, sisters there. Really, really. That's really, you see, make differences in our emotion. Too much self-centered emotion. Then always fear, distrust, like that. Open that, entire sentient being, our best friend. And then, moreover, think more about well-being of other. That's the best way to fulfill your own happiness. Think more self-centered attitude, more suffering, more worry. So I usually describe we are selfish. In that sense, you have to take care yourself. But the proper way is why selfish? In order to protect your own happiness or joyfulness, take care of other. That's why selfish. In order to taking care of yourself, think only yourself. That's the foolish selfish. Okay. Like that. On top of that, because of the 8 verses, the Sigang Tamati. 지금 규모를 쉐베 lösa 돈이 고삼당 거래.
So in the last verse it says, may I be able to perceive everything is like illusion. So at that point you have to think about emptiness. Do you study Bodhisattva Charyavatara, Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life?
Oh, that book is very good, very important. My transformation about the selfish transform altruism. That book is immense helpful. So read the 6th chapter and 8th chapter. Wonderful. 9th chapter, quite complicated. You have to study more. Thank you. So now picture.